Each year, 2 million back injuries occur across the United States, and unfortunately, there's a lot of bad information out there about how to fix it. Today, we're going to talk about the top 4 mistakes you're probably making that's keeping you from getting out of back pain. And Ryan Carroll and I are going to go over 4 strategies that can help you actually get on the right track and fix your back pain for good. So the first mistake a lot of people make is they stretch their back. They're looking for that instant relief. They'll maybe pull their knees to their chest, they'll go side to side, try to get a crack or pop out of their back. And while this may provide some temporary relief, for a lot of people, that's all they're getting, about 15 to 20 minutes of relief, because by pulling your knees to your chest, you're stretching your back and activating your stretch receptors deep within these muscles. And for a lot of people, especially if you have an irritated disc, you're pulling into a lot of spinal flexion and just irritating something that's already very sensitized. So the last thing we want to do is stretch your back.
Rather than stretching, what we're gonna do is a Camel exercise. So come on up, I'm gonna get you into quadruped. That's hands and knees, okay? So what we're gonna do is find a neutral spine. So find your neutral spine where it's nice and pain-free, okay? Good. Now what I want you to do is push the earth away through your shoulders, get a little bit taller, okay? Now go back to neutral. Just push through the shoulder only though. Good, there we go. Now, nice and neutral. Now I want you to pull your chin down as you go into flexion a little bit. This is not a range of motion exercise. This is just a little bit of movement in the spine to get a little bit of motion. So then we come up and go into extension. You're not supposed to work this into pain. Then you come up, do 6 to 8 repetitions, 1 to 2 cycles, depending on what you need for your particular back injury.
Mistake number 2 you're probably making is you are stretching your hamstrings. Here's the thing that your doctor either isn't telling you or doesn't know, is that tight hamstrings are not a cause of back pain. Rather, they are only a symptom. So we don't want to hang out and stretch your hamstrings. This is not doing anything to fix your back pain.
Instead of stretching the hamstrings, what we want to do is teach them shortstop squat, something different. What we're going to do is slide our hands straight down our knees, and we're going to post, but I want you to keep your head a little bit more neutral than that. So standing up for me a little bit, we'll redo that. So slide your hands straight down your knees, push your butt back, teaching them to hinge. Now post on your knees and anti-shrug and push down through your lats a little bit. There we go. Now push the hips through and stand up, and practice that for about 4 to 5 repetitions a couple times a day. This is keeping the hip hinge going well, and it teaches you how to use this movement daily, and it can give you some relief from the back issue instead of further exacerbating the mechanism of pain.
The third mistake you're making is forgetting about the hips. Even though you have back pain here, the hips are a crucial part of the rehab process, because if you have an imbalance in hip mobility, it can lead to uneven forces at your low back. So a simple way to address hip mobility is a hip airplane. Here's how it's performed. You're going to get set up where you can grab onto something at home. This could be your kitchen counter, this could be a wall, or even the back of a chair. Single leg stance, we're going to get into a single leg RDL. At this position, he's going to move fully about his hip and rotate open as far as he can. Now right here, he's probably gonna get a little bit of a stretch in his groin. This is stretching into external rotation. Then he will drop his hip, drop his pelvis down like he's pointing his belly button towards the wall, and this will bring out a good stretch in his glute. This is stretching into internal rotation. Now, some of you may find more of a stretch one way versus the other. That may be the restriction that you need to focus on. Something like this, very simple programming wise, do 10 reps in a row for a 5-second hold into the stretch that you need. But try this on both sides, and if you feel a restriction more so on one side, perform that exercise 1 to 2 times a day to make sure that you're clearing up those mobility imbalances so your back can function as it can, pain-free. And the fourth mistake you're probably making is not addressing your posture.
This is one of the most common mistakes I see people make that have an achy back. They have phone posture. So instead, what I want him to do is I want him to bring his head up. Instead, if he wants to look at his phone, and bring it up so you're looking at it eye level. So what we want to do is teach him to have a neutral spine, maybe a little bit of stiffness through his obliques. We can address the width of his legs. He might feel better with his legs out more, or bring his heels in. And then we have a very common issue, and that's when people are standing, their back starts hurting them. So go ahead and stand up for me. Good. What we want to teach people to have is a neutral spine, and here's one trick that not many people know. If standing hurts you and causes you pain, sag the knees a little bit, just a little bit, maybe not even that much. Place the hands in front, clasp them there, stack the head, hover all those joints right over each other, or you could put the hands behind the back, depending. And there we are. You've got to address your sitting, standing posture, avoiding stress concentrations that lead to stiffness, pain, and then injury.
So now that you have the cheat code for how to address your back pain, your next step is to enhance stability of your core. Be sure to check out this video for how to actually program that, called the McGill Big 3.